I'd like to call this meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order. Mary Jo, if you could do the roll call, please.
Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Katie Gallagher.
Here.
Tony DeMarco.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
Here.
Mary Belbeer.
Absent, excused.
Kevin Tansky.
Absent, excused. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 12, 2015?
So moved. Second.
To approve, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Okay, tonight we're going to start off with a resolution in honor of our former safety director, Ed Chessar. The mayor is going to step to the podium.
Chessar's family can come up. You could all come up.
Okay, Council, before we can go through with this, can I take a vote on Resolution 2015-2, a memorial resolution to honor and recognize Safety Director Edward L. Chessar for his
Introduce-
service to the city of Brooklyn, Ohio?
Introduced by all, suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
To adopt, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Okay, we put this in a resolution form, that's why they voted on, so it'll always be in the records, okay? This is a memorial resolution to honor and recognize Safety Director Edward A. L. Chessar for his service to the city of Brooklyn, Ohio. Whereas Mayor Balbier and Brooklyn City Council take pride in recognizing outstanding public servants in our community who have contributed to the benefit of the city of Brooklyn. And whereas Edward Chessar was appointed Director of Public Safety on March 23, 2010, and served until his retirement on March 30, 2015. And whereas Director Chessar actively represented the administration and City Council of Brooklyn, the police and fire departments, and residents who took issues on that he believed in. And whereas Edward Chessar passed away on April 6, 2015, after bravely fighting a long battle with cancer. And he will forever be remembered for his good character and concern for the well-being and safety of those around him. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Brooklyn, the County of Cuyahoga, and the State of Ohio, that Richard Balbier and the Brooklyn City Council honor the memory of Edward L. Chessar, mourn his loss, and offer sincere condolences to his family. That a copy of this memorial resolution is hereby presented to his wife, Catherine, and his family as an expression of sympathy and appreciation from the Mayor of Brooklyn and City Council, and on behalf of all the residents of Brooklyn. That this resolution shall take effect and be enforced immediately from its passage and approved by the mayor.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Next, we will hear from the University Hospital Parma Medical Center President Nancy Tinsley, and Mr. John Bundy is going to come up and say a few words. He's our local representative for the UH Parma Hospital.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I've been on the Parma Hospital Board for about 10 years now, and I'd like to, and as you know, we're in a partnership with University Hospitals now, and the change has been constant, and a lot of good things have happened, and I'd like to introduce you to the Chairman of the Board, Dave Nedrich.
Just real quick, I just want to mention on behalf of the Board of Directors of the hospital, we've been very satisfied with the merger with UH. We're now in about a year and a half of that merger, and you know, as we had hoped, it's strengthening the services for our area, and we're very proud of that. And going forward, we're looking forward to a lot more of University Hospital's resources to be able to support our community. With that, I'd like to introduce Nancy Tinsley, President of Parma Medical Center.
Thank you, Mr. Nedridge, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me this time on your agenda to give you an update on the progress of integration of UH Parma Medical Center within the UH system. So I'll give you an update first, a little bit about our system strength. We were actually founded in 1866, and the reason I'm telling you that is we will be celebrating our 150th anniversary next year as a system. So I'm sure you'll hear much more about the events that we're going to do to really celebrate the mission of university hospitals, which is to heal, to teach, and to discover. So as many of you probably know who've been listening to the news and reading the newspaper, we are continuing to grow. In January of 2014, we acquired Parma Medical Center as well as Elyria Hospital. In addition to that, most recently, the system has acquired Robinson Memorial Hospital in Ravenna and has signed an intent to partner with Samaritan Hospital in Ashland. Based on that, we have 11 wholly owned community hospitals, which makes us a very large health system. We have 28 outpatient health centers, with a groundbreaking that we had last fall for the new Broadview Heights Health Center with its integrated campus with Parma Medical Center that allows us to offer our UH Parma institutes and clinical services in the region of Brecksville, Broadview Heights, and Independence. Another update, University Hospitals for the second year in a row was designated one of the nation's most ethical companies, recognized by Ethisphere Institute, which recognizes those organizations demonstrating best practices. And it's not as common probably as it should be that health systems are appointed for these awards, so we're very proud of our business ethics in that area. To give you a sense of the growth that we've experienced just in the last 5 months, let alone the last 19 months, is at Parma Medical Center, we have seen an 8% growth in our services for our discharges, and many of our services and others actually are experiencing larger growth. And what do we accommodate or acknowledge this to? And it's many things. We have hired over 19 physicians in the past 6 months that are helping us continue to strengthen the very strong clinical services at Parma. And those recruits were in areas of neurology, ENT surgery, thoracic surgery, cardiac surgery, primary care, rheumatology, colorectal surgery, psychiatry, and OBGYN. And there is more growth to come. This recruitment allows us to continue to expand our clinical institutes. At Parma Medical Center, we have branded the Neurological Institute. We have a strong Seidman Cancer Center there. We're in the process of branding Harrington Heart and Vascular as well as orthopedics. And what that allows us to do, our one clinical goal that we have in our system is that no matter where patients go for care, they get the same level of high quality care through evidence-based medicine, and we track our outcomes to be able to demonstrate that. So when patients come to Parma with a stroke or chest pain or a certain cancer, we can care for their whole continuum of care. To give you an example of our Seidman Cancer Care, patients who have cancer and come to Parma for care, we manage all of their care. Pre-op chemo, radiation, specialists. We have physician specialists for every aspect of their needs. We also, of course, if they need to do their surgery and other hospital-based care, and their post-surgical care for oncology. The benefit of the relationship with the system is when we have patients that need a higher level of surgical intervention, such as brain tumor care, major head and neck cancer, we partner with them and we keep the patient within our continuum during that surgical episode. Our brain tumor team actually has what we call tumor board, which is every week we round on every single cancer patient virtually with all the experts in the system. So we're confident that with all the options out there for cancer care, that we're giving you the best care based on your situation. So there's lots of progress on the clinical recruitment side. We have also had positive changes in our EMS program. We've actually seen over 18% growth from the city of Brooklyn alone in our EMS runs to Parma Medical Center. So that's great growth in partnership with our EMS team. Recently, we received the Stroke Gold Plus Quality Achievement Award, which really demonstrates and recognizes our rapid diagnosis and intervention for stroke care. Another change that we made recently in our ED is we transitioned to the UH Emergency Department physician team. So we're in the process of adopting all of the ED protocols that are active in the system and aligning those with our clinical outcomes. What you'll see coming forward in the third quarter is the implementation of Rainbow Rapid Care at Parma Medical Center. An important aspect of our growth, as you can imagine, is workforce development. So as we continue to build these programs, we've been fortunate to add over 100 FTEs to our system and hire 100 additional people to help support the clinical growth. And we continue to evaluate that need and add hires as needed. Some of this growth, as I started to mention, is due to our physician recruits. We have other growth. If you haven't heard, HealthSpan is now seeing patients at Parma again. HealthSpan became part of University Hospital's health system in January of 2014, and as a result of that, Parma has been fortunate to partner with them on our medical patients, as well as now we deliver and do OBGYN services at Parma for HealthSpan. As I mentioned, the workforce development aspect of this also includes a very hard focus on the career development and worker retention. We're working to implement career ladders and competitive market salaries for our employees. What that does, to give you an example, a nurse can start out as a new grad at Parma and has 5 separate opportunities through certification and experience to advance in their career within the Parma Nursing Practice Program. We are also proud to be starting a medical residency program in July of this year. In partnership with the UH system, we'll be bringing on 11 internal and family medicine residencies under the direction of Dr. Loike. And this is very exciting because it gives us the opportunity to train the next generation of physicians, involve them in our evidence-based research. So, and as you know, our organization continues to partner actively with community leaders, our hospital's board of directors and physician communities, employees and volunteers to bring efficiencies and cost investments to our community. The recent community investment of Parma Medical Center for its 6 communities allowed the city of Brooklyn to buy a senior transportation van in the last 6 months. We are also continuing to do upgrades and expansions, hopefully soon. As I mentioned, you probably already see the building of Broadview Heights. We're renovating several of our inpatient nursing units, our cardiac cath lab, some of our common space, including our cafeteria. So the face of Parma will start to change as we continue to modernize some of the facility and bring all the services to our community. So I will conclude at this point and take any questions.
I'd just like to tell you that we received that van that we spent the $50,000 on. It was delivered last week. We'll take some pictures of it, and I'll send it to you in case
Perfect.
you want to use
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Does anyone else on council have any questions? Well, thank you, Nancy, for coming out here and giving an update. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Katie.
Okay, we'll move on with our council meeting. Tomorrow, May 12th at 6 p.m., council will hold a work session in council chambers to discuss the needs of a new police station. Tonight on the council agenda, there's an authorization for the 2015 street striping project. The service department will begin striping the main roads near the end of June, and they are requesting $20,000 to complete this project. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year agreement beginning August 1st, 2015 to establish a consolidated communication center in Parma, Ohio. Brooklyn will pay Parma $212,000 for the first year, and subsequent years determined each year. Costs can change with a 90-day notice from Parma and the agreement to pay 15% of all non-emergency capital costs with the 90-day notice. We have an ordinance redefining the recyclable material, container requirements, and placement of bins. The ordinance for the issuance and sale of $413,504 in bond anticipation notes for the city building improvements and parking. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $466,496 of bond anticipation notes for street repairs. An ordinance providing for the pay of certain non-bargaining employees in the Department of Public Safety, which is actually amended tonight for all non-bargaining members. The only changes would include the range for the animal control officer to 18 per hour under ordinance 2008-57. There's a change in auxiliary police officers to a high range of 1309, school guards to the high range of 1309, part-time jailers to 1850, and special police officers to a high range of 1629 per hour. There's an ordinance to authorize the auction of 6 city-owned vehicles through the Greater Cleveland Auto Auction for a price of $100 per unit. And then we also have an ordinance to amend the lease purchase of a vehicle for the police department for the 2015 Chevy Equinox. This was already on our agenda previously. This is for $26,893. We are changing this from a lease to purchasing. At this time, we'll move on to our public session. If anyone from the audience has anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name, address, including city, and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
Tom Adamski, 9625 Melody Lane, Brooklyn, Ohio. In the absence of Councilwoman Balbier, I'd like to address my comments to you, Mrs. Gallagher. I believe Councilwoman Ms. Balbier is in legislation, and that's what my concern is. I tried to do some research online, and I wasn't successful, but what disturbs me is I understand that there is a bill or a resolution concerning gun control, that the part that I'm hearing is that it would eliminate gun registration and it would eliminate gun training. To me, this sounds completely absurd. I also heard part of it also may also prohibit a person carrying a gun into church and to other public buildings, like the museums and whatnot. If that is true, I would ask Council President that you would direct my comments to Mrs. Balbier to do this research and try to find out more information. And if it is accurate, I would ask Council to send a letter of objection. My other comment is to Councilman Van Kirk as Chairman of the Safety Committee. A couple meetings ago, you mentioned about having a meeting on, excuse me, about the police station. To me, I think it's very important. It seems to me that there's a lot of things to do as far as architecture drawings, but the most important, I think, is to have a meeting for the benefit of the residents to learn more about the planned site. I have not heard of any meeting, and if I am wrong, I would like to hear your comments as to when this meeting will happen for the benefit of the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. We're in the preliminary stages of anything. We've just began a needs assessment, so we're not even to that stage yet, but we will ensure that the public's involved when it becomes necessary.
Good evening, excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Victor Ardito, 7439 Outlook Avenue, Brooklyn, Ohio. I'd like to bring I'm a volunteer with the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. I've been doing this with them for about 9 years. I have a couple fundraisers coming up, and one of them, if anyone is interested, is next Saturday at Ace's Bar and Ace's Grill, 32650 Lorraine Road in North Ridgeville, Ohio. It's from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock. $20 for adult, $15 for active military, police, and fire. Children, $12 under 12. 12 and under. It's a wings buffet, rigatoni meatballs, pizza, salad bread, and 4 drink tickets. There's going to be, auctions, 50-50 raffle, sideboards, lottery board, and there's also a TV raffle, a 50-inch LED TV, $10 per ticket or 3 for $20. You can get information or sign up with on email Cleveland RFK as for Ride for Kids at windstream.net. My phone number is available also. You can call me and leave a message or get back with you. 216-544-2083. The foundation, the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation, has been around approximately 30 years, and out of 84 cents out of a dollar goes towards research. And research also, they donate the research money, toward different foundations. One of them is the Danny Thomas Foundation, drawing a blank. St. Jude's, they donate towards St. Jude's. One of the other big fundraisers, if anybody is available, it's for motorcycles of any brand, scooters, anything's welcome. They have a motorcycle ride June 14th, 2015. It's at the Independence Field House Soccer Fields, 6354 Seelig Drive, SELIG Drive in Independence. It's an escorted ride. It starts from there and leaves from there. It's a recommended donation of $30 per bike. Anyone's welcome. There's coffee and donuts in the morning. At the end of the ride, they're having a little cookout, hot dogs and hamburgers. And a couple of, I've seen quite a few of the kids that have gone through it. Since I've started, several of them, misfortunately, have passed away. One young lady, she's from Brooklyn, Ashley. She's graduated a year or two ago, and comes to most of our fundraisers. And thankfully, she's doing quite well, for last I understand. Another point with Tom mentioned with the gun control, it affects a lot of people. They had a course went from 12 hours, and why they took it down to 8 hours to learn how to handle a gun is a little more intricate, I would think. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn?
Madam President, to our mayor and his administration, distinguished council members and dedicated staff, and folks from Brooklyn. I'm Marty Sweeney, your state rep. I just come up today to talk to you a little bit about the State House. And Tom, and your question, that's welcome to the State House. That's an issue that is live. And I'd ask you to reach out to me, or I'll call you and talk to you individually as a citizen, but also if your council and your mayor want to take a position as a city and give me a little more ammo. But it's a topic that is going to be debated, and it is in the current set of circumstances we have at the State House. It's a super majority of Republicans that tend to lean towards the less restrictive gun control, and a super minority, the all-time low of Democrats in the House of Representatives. I'm on the State Government Committee, and there was testimony last Wednesday regarding 4 bills, and you touched on 2 of them. I don't have them all listed in my memory right now, but as I leave, I'll give you my number, and I'd ask you to call me. Look at her. To the council president.
I'll give them to you.
Yeah, so to the council president, to Tom, forgive me for not knowing your last name. That was just the topic of the day that came out. But I came here today to let you know I've been your state rep for a good 4.5 months and trying to figure out how I can best represent the folks from Brooklyn here. One thing I've learned about Brooklyn is your elected office holders care, and what I learned more is the citizens care and they're educated. This budget came down. Governor Kasich said, here's your budget. This is what I want to do to be able to take care of the people of the state of Ohio. We looked at it and we said, wow, there's a lot of good things in here, but a lot of things that need to be changed. And 2 very significant things that touched the city of Brooklyn. The school took the biggest cut as a recommendation within the district that I represent. Berea, the school district, took another hit, and the other two districts, Parma and the city of Cleveland, remained whole or did a little bit better. But Brooklyn took the biggest hit. And I had the privilege of sitting down with your superintendent once and your treasurer twice. And let me tell you, those folks know their business. And your treasurer is a nice guy, but he is a number cruncher, data-driven professional. And what we were able to do, I had two concerns in the development disability. I wasn't really ready for the development disability significant, heart-wrenching stories that have been told. They were more than the stories, it's the people's realities. And there was a significant cut in regards to the funding for that. And during the process, the House budget was able to restore all the funding for the school districts across the state and stop the significant cut for the development disabilities. So I was very supportive of that. I was one of 3 Democrats that voted yes on this budget. So I'm still adjusting to my Democratic caucus as well as the other members, but I always have a very simple philosophy how to govern. It's a question is called, right? The due diligence is done, the work is done, a decision is made, but the fourth one is an explanation is given. And I will give an explanation for any decision that I make. And in regards to this particular decision, I'm voting yes for this budget. It was significantly improved. It could have been a poster child for a bipartisan 99-0 to give the people of the state of Ohio hope that we're all going to work together. And I'm going to continue working with that mindset. So with the schools, we're not done though. I've learned through talking to your treasurer that 4 or 5 years ago, they eliminated this CAT tax, and I'm getting caught up on this commercial activity tax, which the city of Brooklyn had a significant reliance on to help with their school district. And everybody in the State House said, we promise to make you whole with this other tax. And it never came to fruition into the regards to the dollar amount that was promised. And that's what your treasurer is really trying to focus on. He's like, Sweeney, okay, we did good on not losing money, but you really owe us a whole bunch more. And when I was talking to the decision makers and the chairman of the education committee, that's the commitment I got. There's 20 other smaller districts that have the impact of the CAT tax that still hasn't been realized. This budget's going to be passed in the end of June, and when the budget is passed, it's going to be our 2-year budget. But the real work starts regarding how we can fill the void of the previous committed dollars to the city of Brooklyn and the other 19 smaller districts. So that gives me hope there's other districts that are hopefully part of the majority that will jump on this and try to get it rectified. So that's a brief update, and I'm going to take another 30 seconds if you don't mind. I had the privilege of sitting with your council president, and she was gracious enough to invite me up to give a little state government report. And I think I talked to your mayor briefly. It's the capital budget is coming up. And what I'd like from the council president, the mayor, and all the council members, if you give me 1 or 2 capital appropriations so I can try to see if I can fight and get something back for the city of Brooklyn. I don't know what it is. It can't be streets because certain dollars are for streets, but a capital, I'll work with your economic development or your law director to figure out what is eligible for the capital, and I'll start trying to pull it down. And that's probably 6-8 months away, but I'd like to get each of my communities the opportunity to give me something instead of a whole laundry list. So that's my state government report from Martin J. Sweeney on May 11th in a rainstorm. But I do appreciate the opportunity to talk, and I'll be more than happy to answer any question and explain anything that I did. But I did take more than 5 minutes, and I probably owe you 3, and I'll talk for 2 next time if you let me at all.
Thanks, Marty. Council, does anyone have any questions? I know this is typically not a back and forth, but while he's here, does anyone have anything? Okay.
Madam Council President, Mayor, and Council, please, and citizens, don't hesitate to call me because I am your state rep. And you've probably got stuff in the mail, but I'll stick around in the back if anybody wants to write my number down. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you for supporting the budget, too.
Yeah, it's what thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn? We'll now move on to committees, commissions, and boards, and first up is the Finance Committee, Councilwoman Pucci.
Good evening. The Finance Committee met earlier this evening. We began our meeting at 6 p.m. We had a presentation from Software Solutions regarding upgrading our financial software. I attended a previous presentation, and I'd like to thank Mr. Enovich for pursuing this. This is really going to streamline our processes, increase efficiency. It's going to assist the directors by giving them access to more information, and also for council, we'll have better access to the information. We also heard from our engineer, Mr. Courtney, who provided us an update on the funding for our Tiedemann Road right-hand turn lane. The federal allocation was $1,054,210. There was approximately $93,000 already spent and paid for the engineering. That left the remaining balance of $960,910. The engineer estimated that the construction would cost $898,679, and this will be paid directly through ODOT from our federal earmark. The remaining balance is $62,231, and our engineer is recommending that we hold on to this in case there are any change orders. Our local construction engineered estimate is now currently listed at $48,600, and I believe we initially appropriated $43,000, so we'll have to increase it. If everything comes in either at the estimate, under the estimate, or up to 6.9% over, we will have all of our costs covered, including the local construction engineering portion of it. The committee addressed the following legislation, recommending adoption, ordinance 2015-26, relating to our consolidated dispatch center, and we did receive some additional information from our law director today, the data on how they arrived at the percentage that each community would be responsible for. So thank you, Mr. Clausen, for that. The next two ordinances deal with our notes, 2015-28 and 29. And moving forward, if this is adopted this evening, tomorrow they will order the OMAC report and send the financial information to the underwriter. June 1st, they will price the note, and they will also deliver the pricing information to our bond counsel. June 2nd through June 7th, they will prepare the closing documents and certificates. June 8th will be the pre-close on the note issue. June 9th, the note will close, and the funds will be wired to the city. Ordinance 2015-31, we also recommended adopting, and that is relating to the compensation, and as Ms. Gallagher indicated earlier, that will be amended this evening. Ordinance 2015-33, which is going to be up for first reading, is authorizing the sale at auction for some older vehicles we no longer use. 2015-34, which amends 2015-30. Basically, the vehicle that we approved for our police department, instead of leasing it, we're now going to purchase it. And that completes my Finance Committee meeting report. I'd like to move on to Economic Development. We did meet on Wednesday, April 29th. It was a combination meeting and work session. We met to address the potential buyer for the Hugo Boss facility. We reviewed the incentives from the city, the county, and the state. I reported at the last meeting that our initial offer was rejected, along with the offerings of the county and the state. Everybody had gone back, reworked their offers to enhance them, and also at the last meeting I announced that same day the company had announced they were withdrawing their offer. So everybody regrouped. We, being the smallest entity, we could not increase our offer to this company. However, we did agree to move up the time that they would be paid. So we agreed to move the time up to paying them the incentive over 2 years. The state and the county also revised their offers, and along with some changes that we believe were made by Hugo Boss, everyone did reach a consensus. So there is an agreement Unfortunately, the employees will be laid off for 90 days while they retool some of the components that are inside the facility. We then moved on to a work session. We were reviewing our legislation, our agreement template, and policies from other communities. We looked at tweaking our enabling legislation and identified the different variables that we would have to quantify if we adopted a formal economic development policy. I raised the issue again of the lack of high-speed internet for our business community and the importance that this could play as we work to populate the American Greetings property. We discussed the idea of approaching Cleveland State University graduate students to revisit and update our master plan. We will continue the work at our next meeting, which as of today, we don't have scheduled yet. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. The Domestic Abuse Commission will meet Monday, May 18th at 6 p.m. in the Brooklyn City Conference Room. We will hear from Sergeant Cindy Eschweiler about the police process for domestic violence in our city, and also we'll hear from the Jill Similak. She's the new director of the Family Justice Center. The Planning Commission met May 7th at 6 p.m. It passed a request from Brilliant Electric Sign Company to install a pole-mounted non-illuminated signage to replace the smaller sign for business identification of Petro Choice Lubrication Solutions located at 8500 Clinton Road. Passed a request from LS Architects to exterior building finishes, patio and driveway at the entrance of Ridge Manor Party Center located at 4630 Ridge Road. Passed a request from AMZ Enterprises LLC for a parking lot design for additional parking for retail business use behind a non-conforming single-family dwelling on lots consolidated per docket 03-2013-01 located at 8459 Memphis Avenue. We passed a request from Jessica M. Cliff to install a wall-mounted sign for business identification of U.S. Shuai Chao Kung Fu Academy located at 6775 Memphis Avenue. And passed a request from Tobacco and Vapor Unlimited to install business identification signs which exceed the maximum allowable area, section 112903H2 located at 4334 Ridge Road. This is contingent on 2 variances granted by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Next up is Board of Zoning Appeals, Building Commissioner Kolsar.
Thank you. The next Board of Zoning Appeals meeting will be Thursday, May 21st at 6 p.m. Brooklyn City Hall Conference Room to hear a request from Bruce Rakowski on behalf of Delia Rose for a 1,296 square foot variance for an additional accessory structure and a 2-foot height variance. Property located at 10575 Bidoff Road. Thank you. That completes my report.
Thank you. School Board Liaison, Councilman Selhertz.
Thank you. Once again, a reminder, if your child's going to be 5 by September 30th, 2015, it's time to register for kindergarten. Registration packets can be obtained at the Board of Education office or by downloading one of the forms from the school website. Registration is by appointment only. Call 216-485-8112. Issue 1 on the May 5th primary passed with 644 votes for the levy and 510 votes against the levy. It's 55.8% voting in favor of it. Thank you to all that took the time to vote, be it either for or against the levy. For agenda items discussed at any meeting and voted upon by the board, please go to the school's website and click on the Board of Education tab and then on the Board Docs tab. Upcoming events this Wednesday, May 13th at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium is the spring concert. Invest a little bit of your time and enjoy some music being performed by our students. The cost of the concert is free. The next board meeting is Tuesday, May 19th in room 173 at the high school at 6 p.m. Public is welcome and encouraged to attend. It is your school system for your children. That concludes my report.
Okay, we'll now move on to reports of council, and first up tonight is Andy Selhertz.
Thank you. Just a couple quick thank yous. First one to Mr. Verba and his staff. Upon the completion of the bocce ball courts, saw that they were being used diligently last Thursday by a gentleman's league. Also had a chance last Wednesday evening to see them lit up at night. They stand out nicely. It's something nice, a new addition to the city landscape. Hopefully we get some more teams and leagues involved with it. One more thank you to Mr. Verba and his staff on getting Knights Commons into shape already. Knights Commons, for those of you that may not know, is the small park at the corner of Ridge and Bidoff where the gazebo is located. Actually looking on some stuff at Facebook a day or two ago. Some people even mentioned they had a wedding there Saturday, and other people noticed that it's really shaping up really nice. So it's a nice little kudos to the service department. Street program for 2015 also has started this past week. Please have patience while your streets are getting worked on. It takes time. It does not get done in a day or two. They're grinding the streets. They've got pavement corrections. It's just not like shoveling a piece of dirt and we're done. Please have patience with them. On Friday, May 8th, I had a chance to attend the second annual stakeholders meeting held by Metro Health along with Councilwoman Gallagher. A number of topics were covered. I will be exploring some that can benefit our residents since this is one of the two main hospitals that serves our community. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up is Tony DeMarco.
I have no report.
Next up, Ron Van Kirk.
Thank you, Mrs. Gallagher. First, I wanted to thank the mayor and Mr. Clausen for putting together that resolution. It was very well done for Mr. Chessar, and he was very worthy of that. So thank you for taking care of that. Also, I also wanted to thank Mr. Hopkins and the school board. I was not able to attend our last council meeting because I was out of town for my job. But I wanted to thank them for allowing myself and for Chief Melky to serve with them to choose the next superintendent. I know he was here last time, and I missed congratulating him personally. But I was very honored to be part of that process. It was very, very well done, very well thought out. The company that they hired did a tremendous job. And so the school board and Mr. Hopkins are to be commended for their job. And I know that the new superintendent will do a great job for the city schools. I also wanted to thank Mrs. Gallagher. She put together kind of a little meet and greet with some of the residents up at the Westbrook Apartments. We were to take part in that. I was able to take part in that a couple of weeks ago, and just to hear some concerns from them. And so I appreciate that. It was very informative. And one thing I will take away from that meeting is the folks that live there, at least we're at that meeting, love Brooklyn. And they're very pleased with the city and are very happy with the services that are provided. So I just wanted to thank her for that. I will say that although today is not Mother's Day, I do want to wish all of the Brooklyn moms a happy Mother's Day from yesterday. I'm grateful to God for my wonderful mom that He's given to me. You know, we live in different states now, and so I don't get to see her very often, but I do very much appreciate her. And to all the wonderful ladies in Brooklyn that carry that title, I want to thank you for your countless hours that you spend with your children, hauling them back and forth from recitals and from school to activities, and just to say happy belated Mother's Day to all of you. As Mrs. Gallagher mentioned, we'll be having a work session tomorrow night to hear the findings of King and Horn Architects. As you know, we hired this company to do a needs assessment for a new police station. Tomorrow's discussion will focus on what the architects have come up with as far as the needs for that station. They'll give us some budgetary costs for what they've come up with. And to address what Mr. Dempsey said about the site location, nothing has been decided. There has been a couple discussions on a couple of ideas as to where it's going to go. But as Mrs. Gallagher mentioned, we are a long way away from breaking ground on that. And that may be brought up in the discussion tomorrow as well. The work session, everyone's welcome to come and attend that. But we're far from making any type of decision on that. I also want to thank the mayor and the finance director for allowing me the privilege of heading up this process. We certainly have a long way to go, but Chief Melky and Sergeant Knapp have done a wonderful job keeping everyone informed on this process, and look forward to working that in the future. And I think that concludes my report. Yes.
Thank you. Kathy Pucci.
Thank you. I, too, would like to wish all the moms a belated Mother's Day. I hope you were able to enjoy your special day yesterday. I know I really enjoyed mine. 2 of my 3 sons made it home by Saturday night, and my 3rd son is actually going to be in town for a few days later this week. So it was a good day for me. I, too, would like to thank whoever did, Mr. Clausen. I'm not sure if you wrote the memorial resolution, but I appreciate it. And I'd also like to thank the Chessar family for coming up here. I know they're going through a very difficult time, but it was really nice to see them up here. I would also like to thank the officials from Parma Hospital who came here to share with us the information about the exciting things that are going on. I know that when the proposed merger was announced, there was some apprehension in the communities because they weren't quite sure how it was going to look to the founding communities and how we would be treated. I hope tonight you have the impression that University Hospitals is committed to keeping Parma Hospital a community hospital and to making improvements to the care that they're able to deliver to our residents, that remaining an independent hospital would not have been possible under the current situation. So thank them for coming this evening. Safe Routes to School, we had our annual Bike Safety Rodeo and Touch a Truck this past Saturday from 9 to 11 at Ridge Park Square. Once again, we had a great turnout of both volunteers and participants. I would like to first thank Chief Milkey and our police department, Chief Zemek and the fire department for their support of our efforts. Special thanks to Chief Zemek for once again making the arrangements for the University Hospital Medevac helicopter to land. That is definitely the highlight of the event, so thank you, Chief. I'd also like to recognize and thank Mr. John Verba and the Service Department, and I would like to mention that we had 3 employees from the Service Department who on their own time came up, and that is Mr. Tom Bruzak, Mr. Bob Hennings, and Mr. Bill Stanton. So thank you to those employees who volunteered their time. I would also like to just take a minute to recognize the other members of our Safe Routes to School Committee for their efforts. Mr. Tim Hitchcock and Ms. Megan Dunlevy, they're our partners from the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. All the school administrators have been extremely supportive of our efforts, and the following school employees: Kim Faircloth, Courtney Gomez, Annie Beer, Janice Abram, with a special thanks to Susie Marquis and Haley Torek. And also Sergeant Cindy Eschweiler is on our committee. I'm very proud to be on this committee from its inception. Everyone is very dedicated and works hard. So thank you to the rest of the committee. I would like to thank Mrs. Rita Enovich. I was able to stop up at the Senior Center last week and see our new senior van. I know the seniors are very pleased with it. And also the bocce ball court. And Marty Reaney was able to take me through. And Mr. Verba, when it's your report, if you wouldn't mind mentioning what a good job they did and how they were complimented on the actual surface, I'd appreciate that. The clean sweep portion of the Beautify Brooklyn, the kickoff was Saturday, May 2nd, and it was a great success. There was a lot of very positive feedback from our residents. We still have another Saturday where the service garage is going to be open from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, and this is to collect either if you have a lot of excess that you want to bring up to the garage, or hazardous materials, or anything relating to computer electronics for recycling. And the Bulbs and Blooms is going on from May 6th to July 11th, so we encourage people to plant flowers. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to echo Mrs. Pucci's comments about Touch a Truck without repeating them all, but her committee and all of the employees that go do a great job. I think is one of the highlights for the kids in the community, and I think it's nice to see your kids excited. I think the only thing that I would change is the kids laying on every horn and letting that go off throughout the Ridge Park Square. I just want to remind everyone that the next regular council meeting is Tuesday, May 26th, because of a Memorial Day. You have made caught of an article in the paper the other day about the Greenway project in the vicinity of the abandoned Parma Freeway. This is the grant application that Brooklyn had along with Cleveland and Big Creek Phoenix submitted to NOACA. The executive committee did not recommend this project to get approved for the Transportation for Livable Communities initiative, but the committee said they'll be working with Big Creek Connects to find alternative sources of funding to help move this project forward. As Andy mentioned, we attended the Metro Health annual stakeholder meeting. They had lots of great news about building their new campus. They're operating, rising tenfold. Their revenue has gone up, and the increased number of employees of 462 in the last 2 years alone. Some nice news is that Brooklyn portion Metro Health is working with the West 25th Street Corridor Initiative to bring life to this area where the old Brooklyn Health Center is. This relationship is good for us because as these areas do better, it helps Brooklyn in the long term. I was flipping through the Old Brooklyn News last week and found one of our own Brooklyn Knights being recognized as the Senior Citizen Resource Volunteer of the Month. Frank Anderson has been helping with the Meals on Wheels program at the Schwab Center since 2000. You may know Frank as part of the choir at St. Thomas More Church. Brooklyn is lucky to have so many volunteers, such as Frank and his wife Karen, and I think it's important to take a few minutes and honor these people in our community. I also like to read this nice email I received from a resident about our fire department and paramedics, if you could pass it on, Chief Zemek. She said, recently I needed the services of our paramedics after a nasty and debilitating fall. Response to the 911 call was swift. The 4 responding members of our fire department were impressively competent, extremely respectful, and polite, and clearly communicated their concerns, actions, and needed decisions for both my husband and I. The care I received in the ambulance was reassuring. I appreciated the young paramedic who stayed with me at the UH Parma's ER exam room until staff was able to look me over, since my husband had not arrived yet. I don't know who they are, but these 4 first responders have our gratitude and respect. Brooklyn can be proud of their dedication and caring service. So thank you, Chief. I think it's important to pass those on every once in a while to let them know they're appreciated. I also like to thank Key Bank, who's going to come around May 13th to clean up the turnaround at the corner of Tiedemann and Bidoff. And that concludes my report. And on to the mayor's report.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that the Memorial Day Parade will be Monday, the 25th. It'll start at 11 o'clock at the high school, and we'll go back to the old route where it goes down Bidoff to Ridge and up Ridge to Memphis. Last year we went down Rodone because Ridge was under construction. And once we get here at the City Hall, we'll have a ceremony that lasts about a half an hour. The handicap ramp at the end of the City Hall here on the west side is all done except for the railing. I've looked it over. It looks like an excellent job. I'd like to congratulate the schools on the passage of their renewal levy. And Mrs. Gallagher just mentioned the volunteers from Key Bank. The street signs on Ridge Road were put up, and they're smaller than what was there originally. So Mr. Verba and Councilman Tansky have been after the county, and the county says they're legal and everything, but they agree they're too small also, so they're going to replace those signs with larger ones. So the street signs on Ridge Road are going to be replaced. The fire department turned in their report for April. They had 59 fire runs, and there was a total fire loss of $10,050, and they had 141 squad runs for the month. They gave mutual aid 5 times, and we received mutual aid once. And a few of the councilmen have mentioned the bocce ball courts. If you get an opportunity, just go over there and look at them. They told me they're the best courts in the county, and I don't know what else you could do to make them any better. They're gorgeous. That's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on to director's reports. First up is Recreation Manager Maria McGinty.
Good evening. Fall soccer registration has started at the Recreation Center. Resident pricing for students is $55, ages 3 years and up, 3 to 8. You may register during regular business hours. Learn to Swim registration will start on May 17th during regular business hours. The cost for Learn to Swim is $50, and swim team pricing is $75. For more information, you can call 216-351-5334. And the next Rec Board meeting will be held on Monday, May 18th at 7 p.m. at the John M. Coyne Recreation Center. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Next up is our Finance Director, Dan Enovich.
Thank you, Council President Gallagher. Just briefly, the city's received $7,256,410.45 in their general fund year to date, and we've expended $6,691,053.01 from the general fund, leaving us an unencumbered balance of $10,644,717.11. And that concludes my report.
We'll move on to requests. We have the request for $20,000 for the 2015 street striping project.
Move to approve.
To approve the request, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Moving on to legislation, ordinance 2015-26, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement to establish a consolidated communications center in Parma, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
To approve, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-27, amending Chapter 951, garbage collection recycling of the codified ordinances of the city of Brooklyn.
Move to approve.
Second.
To approve, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2015-28, providing for the issuance and sale of $413,504 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of improvement to city buildings, including parking therefore, and declaring an emergency. Council, if you can hold on a second, I have to read the fiscal office certificate to this. To the Council of the City of Brooklyn, Ohio, as fiscal officer of the City of Brooklyn, I certify in connection with your proposed issue of $413,504 in notes to be issued in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of improvement to the city buildings, including parking therefore, that one, the estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvement is at least 5 years. The estimated maximum capacity maturity of bonds calculated in accordance with Section 133.20 of the revised code, and being my estimate of the life or period of usefulness of the improvement is 20 years. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the issuance of the original date of the notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from the maximum maturity of the bonds, and the maximum maturity of the notes is June 13, 2033, which is 20 years from June 13, 2013, the date of issuance of the original notes issued for this purpose. Signed April 13, 2015, from our Finance Director, Dan Enovich.
Move to adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
No.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-29, providing for the issuance and sale of the $466,496 in notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay costs of resurfacing certain city streets to be approved by City Council together with all work incidental thereto, and declaring an emergency. Again, I have to read the fiscal office certificate. To the Council in the City of Brooklyn, Ohio, as the fiscal officer of the City of Brooklyn, I certify in connection with your proposed issue of $466,496 in notes to be issued in anticipation of issuance of bonds to pay costs of resurfacing certain city streets to be approved by City Council, together with all work incidental thereto, the improvement that one, the estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvement is at least 5 years. Two, the estimated maximum maturity of the bonds calculated in accordance with Section 133-20 of the revised code is 15 years. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the issuance of the original issuance of the notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from the maximum maturity of the bonds. And three, the maximum maturity of the note is June 13, 2033, which is 20 years from June 13, 2013, the date of issuance of the original notes issued for this purpose. Dated April 13, 2015, our Director of Finance, Dan Enovich.
We're okay. He thought we missed the dispatch.
Oh,
We got it. We're good.
okay. Can I have a motion?
Move to adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
No.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-31, amending Exhibit A of Ordinance 2006-15, titled Providing for the Compensation for the Full-Time and Administrative Employees Non-Bargaining Agreement of the City of Brooklyn, Ohio.
Do approve.
Second.
We need to approve as amended to include all of the part-time, full-time, administrative, non-bargaining unit positions.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Okay.
I think we need to
wanna-
suspend the rules. So introduced by all, suspend the rules as amended.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
To adopt as amended, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Ordinance 2015-33, authorizing the sale of certain city-owned vehicles through the Greater Cleveland Auto Auction, public auctioneers for the purpose of disposing of city vehicles at public sale. This is on first reading. Ordinance 2015-34 to amend Ordinance 2015-30, authorizing the lease purchase of one vehicle and ancillary equipment for use by the Brooklyn Police Department to a purchase agreement.
Introduced by all, suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
To adopt, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
And just for the record, since that wasn't in the title, the total cost of that is $26,839. I'd like to make a motion to go in executive session for possible litigation and personnel issues relating to the Recreation Center. Included, I'd like to see the mayor, the service director, the finance director, and the law director. Have a second, please.
Second.
To adjourn to executive session, Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Thank you. No action will be taken when we return.